two, three.
Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. It's a tough day for all of us whenever we have a plane crash and people die. This one is especially tough for many people that know the whole story of Flying Wild Alaska. Jim Tweedo and Shane Reynolds, it was only 4 days ago, right about now, their plane crashed in Alaska. I've been amazed at the total lack of information about what happened and where it was and all of the details on what truly happened. Jim was a fabulous pilot, very experienced. How could Jim Tweedo get killed in a plane crash? I did a lot of research and I probably made 50 phone calls. I have been on this kind of since it happened because none of it ever made sense. Some of the things that I heard initially never made sense. I now have what I believe is going to be the correct answer. Remember, this is my channel, Probable Cause. I'm kind of going out on a limb on speculation, but this is all based on what I've talked to the people up there in Alaska that actually know. A couple of fallacies in the story that are not actually true. I'm going to tell you the whole story here. And at the very end of this, I'm going to leave a very short musical tribute. I hope that you'll stay to the end. Offer a moment of silence for these families and these remaining family and friends left behind after Jim and Shane have gone on ahead of us. The story is that the bear hunting season was winding up to a close here. These individuals had been involved in some kind of a bear hunting mission. The story was that they ended up at this place 35 miles northeast of something. Well, that's statute miles. The state police doesn't do anything in terms of nautical miles. So they did not fly in and drop one off. First of all, the Cessna 180, according to the FAA records, was a stock 180 with an 0470 engine. It's either a 260 or 265 horse engine. It was not an IO 550. If it was, the records have not been updated, but I think it was a standard stock 180, which makes a huge difference. They flew in. Jim flew that airplane in there empty, and he picked up one person, plus they picked up a bear. They had been bear hunting. They picked up a bear, the remnants of a bear that had been cut and cleaned and packaged. A bear is very heavy. I'm not sure how much weight the bear brought to the equation, but they tried to make a takeoff. Now it's two people plus their fuel plus the bear, and I found the location. I want you to take a look at this Google Earth. This is my guess. It could be wrong, but this is the best guess that I have based on the people I've talked to so far. Here's the map. Jim was based at Unalakleet, which is way south of the site here. They actually were closer to the little town of Shukatulik. And the key thing here is that it's on the Shukatulik River. If you follow the Shukatulik River northeast, you end up at this spot here, which is exactly 35 miles northeast of Shukatulik on the river. Now, the airplane does not land on the river flatbed or on the gravel bar. It lands on this little site. If you see this little place up here, right here where the dot is, this is kind of an east-west clearing. I'm not sure. Google Earth doesn't have it very clear. It's about 2,500 feet long. It's about 30 feet up above the river basin. I'm not sure which direction they would have taken off, but in any case, they did not get clear off of this thing. I think they were probably taking off to the west, is my guess here. But again, I don't know. The airplane did not have an engine failure. It simply refused to gain altitude and flew into something. Here it is in a 3D picture, so you can kind of see the terrain a little bit better. But that's really all that happened here. The weather that morning was clear. The weather was not a factor. And the remaining person picked up the sat phone. He called Jim's wife immediately as soon as the crash happened. That's the first call he made. And then she alerted the authorities from there. The rescue services were brought in out of Nome, Alaska. They brought in helicopters, at least one, maybe two, to fly round trips back to the crash site to bring people in and out and all that kind of thing. So that's what happened. Nobody else tried to land an airplane on this trip. Everything else after that was all done with helicopters. The total distance from the southern airport here, which was the airport of Unalakleet, up to the crash site was about 58 miles. Technically, from the little airport of Shukatulik, straight line distance was actually about 37 miles, and the river winds all the way around. If you were to follow the river, it's a very long trip. But from from the base where Jim was based at down there at Unacolit, it was only about 58 miles. So you can go on Google Earth yourself, do the cross of 37 and 58, a total of 95 miles combined between those, puts that dot right on the Shekatulik River at the bend. I know for sure the crash was on the north side of the river and in the woods. It simply did not get altitude. It did not have an engine problem, and that's, I'm really sorry that the circumstances. I want to talk about the FAR involved in that. There is a federal aviation regulation which allows people to go up over the max gross weight of the airplane. I'm not sure how that's a good idea, but here it is. I'm going to read it to you. FAR 91-323, increased maximum certificated weights for certain airplanes operated in Alaska. So this is basically for 135 and 121 people who want to operate under special circumstances and get permission to operate 15% over. I don't know that Jim's personal airplane, November 91361, I don't know that he was a 135 airplane. He might have been, and he might have had permission to be that 15% over. In any case, Bernoulli wins. It did not have enough aerodynamics and enough thrust and enough energy to get that airplane airborne to climb out of wherever they were trying, given the existing conditions and the existing load that they put in that airplane. I think there was nothing more going on here than simply an overloaded airplane is my best guess at this time. I want to leave this memorial here at the end. I am very sorry for this entire thing. I want you to have the update as I have it. I'm getting more information all the time, and I appreciate those who spoke with me and took the time to call and email me and give me this information on where this place is. It's all very, very sketchy as of right now, but I think that's going to be the best guess as to what happened up there. We'll know more in a couple of weeks if the NTSB gives us any data off of their preliminary on the location and the crash site as it is. Once again, our deepest respects and condolences to both of these families. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun.